Hey guys, I'm Doctor McFarland and welcome back to the channel. It is Tuesday and that means another live stream where I take your questions. We can really talk about anything that you want. I mean music related, obviously. But let me find a pick here, a guitar pick. Let's see, I'm going to use... let's talk about this one real fast. So this pick right here, you can't really see it. This is a Dunlop Big Stubby that I have chewed on with my teeth over the years. Well, like really just a long time ago. And I poked a hole through it. So I drilled a hole, then bore it out. So it's really... I was trying to achieve a way to like hold on to the pick easier. And I did all this back in like, it had to have been like 2000, 2001, something like that. So this pick has been around for a very long time. And it works. It works just great. Now, something really cool that I came across this week. Let me show you. Let me mute this. All right, so this is Rock Lock. Okay, and what's really cool about this is I feel like this microphone is acting up on me. I might need to switch it. Do I have the other mic somewhere? I don't have the other mic somewhere. It's fine. So Rock Lock, I came across this on Facebook. I think it was Facebook. I've been getting a lot of ads for like guitar related accessories on Facebook. And I was like, hey, that's actually pretty cool. I had the Perfecto de Castro, Perfecto, whatever his name is. The Chilean, South Brazilian, wherever he's from guy. Really cool guy, by the way. No disrespect on, can't remember where he's from. But anyway, it has his name on there. I was like, hey, looks like a cool brand. I'm going to try it out. So this is what I did. I ordered a pack. And get one of my straps out here. So this is the device, the mechanism going on. Get it in front of my face so you have to see my face. There you go. So it screws on to your strap. And this is a pretty thick strap because the threads are not very tall. So you kind of have to like squeeze down on it and get that first thread started so you can really tighten it down. But it's on there really, really good. So this hole is big enough to where it can be pretty universal and fit literally anything. That one might have strap locks on it. Let me check that one out. No, that's regular. That's regular. This one. So up until recently, put my headphones back on. Up until recently, I had just been using these red little rubber washers I got off of Amazon, and they work. They work fine. But in order to not have to take things on and off and all that stuff, and this kind of strap is leather strap, which feels good, but this one is actually adjustable. And I got this off of Amazon, and I'll have a link down in the description if you want to check it out. But you can literally just pull it. And you can change the length like really fast. So whether you're standing up or sitting down, it's very easy to use. So with that said, if I take this off here, And this is a standard Dunlop locking tuner. You basically have to use this kind of thing, this kind of mechanism here. That's how you like snap it in there. That kind of thing. You put the strap on, it holds it on nice and tight. You push the button, it comes back off, right? So that's how the standard Dunlop works. There's what's the other kind? What's that other kind of strap lock that I'm not too fond of? I mean, I don't like hate them, but it's just never been my preference. I can't remember at this point. You can see at the end of this one, it's really worn out. If I can grab it, here. It's like the hole is really worn out, and the leather is starting to come apart. So, with that said, let me get rid of that strap. So this is a nice big Dunlop strap, and I haven't tested this yet. So let's see if this actually works. So we're gonna just put this over the hole. Uh-oh, it works, and snap. So now it's not going to come off unless you pull or push in these little tabs on the side, and it just comes right out. So it's really cool that it works for, you know, the small vintage style strap locks. It works for the big Dunlop style strap locks. I'm trying to think of that other name. It's not Clouson. It's I don't know. Anyway, so I can snap that on, which is cool. Snap this side on. Bada bing. Yeah. And now I just strapped on a guitar. And it's the same strap that I prefer using, which is, you know, once again, this kind of, you just take it and you pull on it, so you can change the length of the strap and just get it the perfect size and everything for what you do. And yeah, that's cool, man. Now, one thing I would say, it's not very discreet. I mean, it's kind of, from this side you can't really tell a whole lot, but when I'm looking down, it's just this big kind of plasticky, well, it's not plastic, it's like a hard, something really hard. Apparently you have to go to the website and check out what material this is, but regardless, I mean, it looks like it works really well, and the mechanism works well. It's just nice and tight, and it's on there, so it's not going anywhere. So this is the Lyra guitar model, and I bought this because really solely because of that top. I mean, look how amazing that top is. Boy, oh boy. And the pickups are Allen Holdsworth pickups. It has a 3-way switch instead of the standard 5-way that other Kiesel humbucker guitars have. And I can also pull out the tone knob, and that gives me split coil options. So here's the bridge split coil. Then we got in between, and then we got the neck, and then we got back to humbucker. Okay. It's kind of fun. Here's a little dirty sound. With the orange, this is an orange amplifier. The Orchard Park Band. What's up, man? What is your actual name and where are you from? And yes, I against my better judgment and lack of funds on my, ooh, look at that fretboard, by the way. See the curl in the fretboard? That's just sick. Now, you can't get this kind of thing when you build the Kiesel off of the builder. Let's actually do this real fast. Let's maybe this is a dumb idea, but just for example, And we'll start talking about why I went digital here in a second. Oh, come on. Come on, remote. I'm trying to get my remote to work. Come on. There he goes. Wake up. All right, so I guess for similar reasons of why I went digital, this is also why I... what in the world? What is happening here? It's like everything just freaked out. Okay. Actually, I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay. So because you have... I swear this microphone is doing weird things. Anyway, it's fine. Let's say it like this. If you go to sweetwater.com or zounds.com or American Music Supply or Musician's Friend or, yada, yada, whatever. Most of the time, they're going to have a stock photo of whatever guitar you want to buy. Okay, that means it's not the actual photo of the actual guitar that you're ordering. So you're kind of stuck in this limbo land of like, oh, is it going to be the exact same, color or the exact same wood and the look and everything about it that I'm actually going to get from this, this purchase. So so when you're ordering a custom guitar like a Kiesel, they have a really awesome builder that can get you 90% there of like what the guitar is going to look like, but it's a graphic representation of the guitar. So if you order like a really nice top, it's going to look cool on the screen, but it's not going to be the exact same top that you're going to get if you had an actual picture of the guitar. So that's why they do have in stocks of the guitar. And as I talk, I'm going to go adjust something here. So yeah, they have in stocks on the guitar, but and that's going to be a lot closer to what you're actually going to get. Mirror the Roku. Why does it say that? Stop mirroring. Quit mirroring, man. All right, there we go. I got it fixed. Somewhere, for some reason, my other thing was mirroring the other thing and yada, yada, whatever. So anyway, how does that deal with going digital versus like using tube amps and whatever else, right? Well, let's just say if you're buying a guitar online, it is nice to have the actual guitar you're going to get. So you can see all the little intricacies about it. So like, for instance, if I would have just ordered this Lyra with a flame maple top and a roasted maple neck and fretboard, then I might not have gotten this really cool like flame coming out in the fretboard kind of area here. It would have just been a plain, not bland, but just like a plain fretboard. But since I was able to see the guitar beforehand, and actually they had a video of this guitar, of the guy playing it, I was like, okay, I don't know what that is, but I like that and I want it. So, here's my credit card number. So yeah, just little intricate details like that that don't really pop up when you're ordering a guitar just based off of a stock photo. Which is why if you're going to buy a guitar, you probably want to buy it from Sweetwater, because they actually have the real photos of the instrument that you're buying, and you can actually also compare other versions of that same model that they might have in stock. So you can see like this one has, this one's 8 pounds, 5 ounces versus 9 pounds, 2 ounces. Oh, that one's too heavy. I'm going to go over to this one over here, or just whatever, you know what I mean? So anyway, it is what it is. Oh, let's see. Let's check some comments. We got Derek. How do you like the Holsworth pickups? They sound fine. They are nice and open sounding, not too mid-rangey, not too dull, just a nice clear sound. And they're great. Thomas More. Cool. Okay. I feel like Thomas More has watched before. Have to change. Yeah, I see what you mean. I see. Thomas More. Yeah, YouTube channel. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so we just had NAMM not too long ago. And I'm trying to find this other microphone, wherever it is. But I'm not seeing it. Because this one for some reason has been... let me take the windscreen off. Maybe that's doing something weird. No, there's still something there. It's like this windy, howly kind of sound coming through. I already switched out like 3 different cables, so it can't be the cable. Maybe the audio interface. I'm not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So what has happened? Let's tell you a brief story of my my guitar rig journey over the years. So I have owned 35 different amps. I have a video about this on the YouTube channel, if you can go check that out. And most of those amps were tube. And some of those amps were quilter amps, which are not tube. They're more solid state. And then here in the recent years, I've owned like Boss Katanas and other solid state type things. So I was never like a tone junkie per se. But I did like, trying out different amps, trying out different tubes, put 6L6s versus ELA 4s and, on the amps that you can actually swap them, those kind of things out. 12 AX7s, 12 AT7s, or 12 AXU, whatever it is. The lower voltage preamp tube, maybe AT, 12 AT7, whatever it is. Yeah. Just go through the whole thing of like swapping tubes and trying out different amps, and it's honestly just exhausting. It really is. Because at some point, if you look at the history of recorded guitar, I think it's safe to say that the Deluxe Reverb is probably the most recorded guitar amp ever. And or maybe just like a Fender Tweed kind of thing, like a 5.3U, whatever. Those are 5F3, 5.3F, whatever kind of amps those are. And obviously we have Marshalls, we have all the modern amps like Soldanos, Angles, Orange, just tons and tons of amps that we have at our disposal. But if you're going for a clean sound, I mean, any kind of Fender amp is going to be, the most recorded or most played with on stage. Also, the Fender Twin is also very popular as well for its high headroom and just being very, very loud in general. And so I was just coming off of playing with my band, and I still had my pedal board in front of me, but I kind of started going hybrid. I had used the Line 6 M series kind of back in like 2013, 2014, really from 2012 to like 2014 or 15, somewhere in there. I was using the M series from Line 6, and that basically gives you all the effects you'd ever want in one box, right? So therefore you have less cables, less power supplies, just less pedals in general, and you don't take up as much space on your board trying to configure like, I need 3 delays and 2 reverbs and a phaser and a chorus, and should I put the phaser before dirt or after dirt, or just all the different configurations that you would want to consider when putting together a pedal board. And somewhere around, I think it was like 20, I have to check the date on this, but like maybe 2016, 2017, the HX Effects came out. And for the longest time, the M series was good, but the switches were not that great. Like they would constantly go bad, and you heard horror stories of people having to replace the switches, and you had to mod them to make them sound better, and whatever. So when the HX effects came out, I looked at it. It was like, all right, this is like, I think it was like $6.99 at the time, $5 or $6.99, whatever it was, and for the amount of money that you spent, you get one box that has all the upgraded foot switches and all the things about the M series from Line 6, but it's just better, right? It's just newer, better. It has the capacitance switches, so you can just touch a switch and the screen changes so you can start adjusting the parameters on the screen. It's really slick how they do it. Steve Salashi has a good Line 6 video he released, I think today, about why the Line 6 Helix is still very relevant in 2025. And I fully support that theory because it totally is. It's still a really good unit. Whether you have the HX effects, the full-size floor, the LT version, the Pod Go, the HX Stomp, the HX Stomp XL, any of those models within the Line 6 multiverse or universe or brand line, whatever you want to call it, they're all just really, really good stuff. So shortly after the HX effects came out, the Headrush pedal board was released, and I saw Pete Thorne do a video demo of the Headrush pedal board, and I was like, oh my goodness, it has the touchscreen. It has, it has more switches. It has scribble strips on it. It has the built-in expression pedal. Yeah, this thing is really cool. So just at that time, I was on the verge of putting together or completing a Boss ES8 pedal board setup with like drive pedals, delays, reverbs, all kinds of different stuff. And I had it all laid out on this pedal pad platform kind of pedal board. And I just could not bring myself to finish it. I was like, this is so much work. I'm just going to rip it all apart in like another 2 or 3 months anyway, because I never can keep make up my mind on what I want. So when I was presented with digital options, all the issues I had with physical pedal boards went away. And this is what I'm kind of getting at here is, and I'll get to your questions here in a second. So let me finish my story, please. So what I'm getting at is if you got 2 pedals, okay, you can quickly toggle those on and off within a reasonable amount of time, right? But if you had 3 drive pedals and 2 delays and a reverb and a chorus and a tremolo and whatever else, and you wanted to have it to where you're playing a sound and then you want to switch to another sound relatively quickly, there's this thing you have to do called tap dancing, which means you have to turn off that drive pedal, turn on that tremolo, turn off this delay over here, and there's your sound. And then you want to go to another sound, so you have to turn back off the tremolo, turn off the original drive and maybe turn on another drive, turn on a secondary delay. It's just like a bunch of tap dancing you got to do on a regular pedal board. And that's why the Boss ES8 came into the picture, because now you can plug all those pedals into the back of the unit and you can set up presets to where you just hit one button, it turns on the pedals that you wanted, and hopefully it gave you spillover for the reverb and delay effects that you had on there. And that was my main issue, because once I got a taste of what digital could do for me, I was like, this solves the switching issues, the multiple cable issues I've had over the years of like making a pedal board and then a cable goes bad. Then you wonder why you can't hear that effect, or like your whole rig goes down because of one cable or something. All the power supplies you got to have, you got to mount underneath the board and all the different things. And it's just, so once I got that taste of going digital, I just even to this day, like I do have the Wampler Pantheon, which is a cool pedal. If you want to buy this, then I'm selling it. It's on Reverb right now. If you want to go on there and look for Doctor McFarland on Reverb. I just have no need for pedals these days. I want all-in-one units. They give me the switching flexibility, the routing flexibility. I can build a preset or a rig in any order that I want with any kind of effects blocks that I want in there. And whether it's a very small Headrush Flex Prime, which I have here on my desk, to a Tonemaster Pro, to a Helix, which you can see right there. There's a Line 6 Helix. I do have the HX effects right here in front of me, combined with the direct amp from Quilter, which is a cool little setup. I do have the Boss GT1000 and GX100 I have in from Zounds for a review. I'm going to start doing a video series on that. So that is why I went digital. It wasn't because it sounded better. And to me, after all these years of hearing all these different amps, the sound of digital units are, to me, just fine. I mean, they're not going to give you the exact same amp in the room experience because you don't have, right now I'm just wearing headphones, right? But when I play guitar, I hear that sound directly in my ears, and it's supposed to mimic the sound of a amp in a room with a microphone in front of it. And now you're listening back through some really nice studio monitors or headphones or something. So you're not going to get the speaker volume pushing wind against your pants and giving you that feeling of excitement when you're playing live through with a crank tube amp. But when it comes to recording, it is very convenient to dial in a sound and know that you can just get the exact same sound the next day when you need to go back and overdub something or maybe replace a part, because all your settings are still there. You didn't change anything. And with a tube amp, you have to reset it back up, make sure the microphone was in the same spot, make sure your delay pedal and your overdrive was in the same knob positions, just all the things. So it is what it is. But that's why I went digital, and I just can't bring myself to have pedal boards anymore. And with multiple, I would love to have the Gig Rig G3 unit with at least 10 different pedals I can switch in and out. But that's a lot of money to put into one pedal board. And I know I have a lot of gear that equals a lot of money. But if I just had to get rid of all of it and just keep one unit, I would just pick one and go with it and be fine, because they all just work really well. So anyway, with all that said here, so Thomas Moore, there you go. I know who you are. What amp would you use now if you're playing in a band? I have several, but want lighter. I have the M9 II. I was thinking Tonemaster Deluxe or FR12 with my Pod Go, or even a Princeton. If you have a digital mauler, then an FR option is probably going to be the best way to go. I have the Fender FR12 right behind me over here, and it sounds really, really good. I do have the Quilter Aviator Cub, which is a full-on amplifier. It's got a preamp and power amp and all the things. But you can plug into the FR return, the effects return of the amp, and treat it like a power amp and a cab, and you're just using the digital mauler as your preamp. But yeah, if you have a full pedal board, you're going to want some kind of amp to plug into. But if you have a digital mauler that supplies all your amp, cab, and effects needs, then just go with a FR12 or a FR speaker and be done with it, honestly. That's what I would do today. If I were playing, I would just show up to the gig with any number one of my maulers here and a FR12 from Fender, and which I've done many times with like jamming with friends and whatnot. It always sounds great. So the problem with a Princeton amplifier is if you're using your mauler just for effects but no amp and cab mauling, then you're essentially just saying, okay, my mauler in front of me is now giving me a virtual pedal board that I can rearrange however I want, and then I'm going into a tube amp, which gives me the amp and cab experience in the room. And that's what your M9 is essentially doing at that point. Now the Princeton does not have an effects loop, so you can't use the 4-cable method. You just have to kind of keep the amp relatively clean, and then go into the input of your amp, and with all your delays, reverbs, overdrives, choruses, tremolos, wall pedals, whatever you got going on. But yeah, that's what I would do. And that's the great thing about digital, because you could have one preset that just has effects, and then another preset that has effects and an amp and a cab. So you can kind of combine different workflows and different setups as your needs, as your need arises. So if you show up to a gig and, you just really want to play through an amp, then show up with just effects on that preset and then plug into an amp. But if the amp ever goes down, you could switch to another preset that has all the same effects, but now you've added an amp and a cab, and now you can just go direct to front of house and continue the show. So really a digital mauler solves a lot of issues that otherwise would be not that great. I've been rocking my headrush at home through my DAW for recording. Otherwise, I used my 92 Hot Rod DeVille. Ooh, yeah. And Marshall DSL with a ABY. Yes, tap dance. Yeah, there's no right or wrong way of doing any of this, by the way, folks. It's just whatever makes you tickled in your pants and makes you feel good, then go for it. But me, nowadays, I just play here in the studio. I record bands and do demos for people. And I play at church once a week if I'm not running sound. So the direct digital solution is just the only way to go for me. And if I was playing in a loud bar or club, I just put the FR12 behind me. And this amp the speaker has an XLR output. So you can just take that output, go direct to front of house, and still control the volume on the speaker independently, which is great. So, David caught me. I finally caught one of your streams. Just wanted to say hi. I just bought your headrush packages. Nice. David Kane, thank you for your purchase. I don't do this solely to make money, but I do the whole YouTube thing as a side hustle, side gig for my main job. And my wife did just buy a van, so any purchase that you do on my website goes to help pay off a van that we recently bought. I have 3 kids, technically 4 kids, but my son Stetson, he actually died about 10 years ago at the early age of 3.5. That was a sad day, but through the grace of God, we've come through all that and learned to live in His mercy and grace every day. And so now we have 11-year-old, an 8-year-old, almost 9-year-old, and Tatum just turned 3 yesterday. So I'm 44 with relatively young children, and by the time they're my age, I'll be like 80 something. So I'm gonna be stinking old, man, stinking old. But it is what it is. So yeah, if you want to help support the channel, I have affiliate links in the description to Zounds.com, which is my preferred affiliate partner. But if you want to shop through Sweetwater or buy toilet paper off of Amazon, then go ahead and click the link before you buy something, and then I'll get a small commission from that. But I do have headrush products on my website. I have preset packages for the Helix for Fractal, for Toemaster Pro, not Quad Cortex, Kemper, and that's about it. So there's also a music theory course on there. So if you don't want to pay for like private lessons, but you want to learn more about music theory and how that applies to not only guitar, but every other instrument that you're ever going to want to learn or play, then that's a good course to take. And I do have a recording course that you can check out as well. So anyway, not here to make money, just here to help as many people as I can. But if you want to help support the channel by buying a course, then that's great. And I will be glad that you do that. It does come down to convenience, especially in today of internet and recording. So yeah, I record a band right now where the guitar player has just tons and tons of amps. And he actually brought his Fender Deluxe tube amp, and we put it in the booth right back here. Put a microphone on it, and actually, that's where the other microphone is. I just remembered. I was like, "Where is that mic I've been looking for?" And it's actually in the booth. So anyway, we mic'd it up, and it sounded fine, but I still think that I could have got a more consistent, better sound, more controlled sound out of my digital modeling stuff. And, once it gets into a mix with like live drums, well, not even live drums, because I use my F-Note kit over here with Superior Drummer to do all my drum sounds. So just any kind of drums, bass, keys, vocals, acoustic guitars. Once you get all that stuff in a mix and then you add a digital modeling for guitar in there as well, like, you can't tell me it's not a real amp, because it all just sounds like guitar tones. You know what I mean? It sounds like an amp with a microphone in front of it. And that's what it's supposed to do. So I tried a Quilter Cub at a gig, and everyone thought it sounded fine, but me. Only when I compared it to my Deluxe, I could say which was better. Now, I did compare the Aviator Cub, which has a black input channel. It's like the Blackface Deluxe input channel on there. I compared it side by side, and I just recorded it with like a just basic phone recording, a phone microphone. And it sounds different only because the cab is a different size and there's a different speaker in there. But he actually preferred, this was what was funny about it, he actually preferred the Quilter over the Deluxe because you can get more of a driven gain sound and then turn down the master a little bit so it's not as loud in the room. And with the Deluxe, you have to get that thing up to like 5, almost 6 on the gain dial to get any kind of overdrive out of it. So the Quilter is definitely more versatile in that way. If you're used to cranking up a Fender Deluxe in a live venue, whether that's a bar or a club or a church or whatever, there may be certain elements about it that you like, but that doesn't mean that it sounds better than a solid state option or even going with a modeler. Because what's better, really? I mean, there's nothing really better. It's just a preference, I think, at some point. But yeah, you really got to crank up those Deluxe amps to make them sing a little bit. I use a Headrush Prime Core. I'm using Kali monitors to listen to it. Is there an advantage to using it for a speaker, or our monitors just as good? Yeah, if you're only in a studio environment or like in a music room, like where you have a desk and studio monitors, the studio monitors are more than enough to play back your thing. So that's what I'm doing right now. Make sure my speakers are muted because I'm listening through headphones. You hear it feedback right then. I 90% of the time I'll listen to these studio monitors right here, which are RCF speakers. Let me show you what I have set up here. So there's my Quilter Direct Amp with the HX effects. There's the F-Note drum kit back there. If I take this, though, there are my RCF speakers. There's some really messy desk and pick holders, tape measure, you know, whatever. That's what I listen through most of the time. Whoa, there's me. There's a rack of guitars. There's my camera right there. There's another thing. There's my room with a faux brick wall, kind of canvas on there for like video background stuff. Doctor McFarland Studios. Digital piano. There's the Quilter Aviator Cub. You know, the F-Note drum kit. There's the vocal booth and all that. So anyway, it is what it is. But yeah, if you're playing live, obviously it's not as convenient to carry studio monitors with you when you're playing live in a bar or a club or something. I always say bars and clubs because that's usually what country and rock bands play in. But unless you're like playing in arenas, which you definitely don't want to use studio monitors for that. That'd be silly. But yeah, I mean, the reason why I'm really highly suggesting the Fender FR options is they are literally $500. They are really light. They are really loud. And the output, the XLR output on the speaker is a direct pass-through for the volume that you're sending out of your Mahler. So that means that you could turn the speaker all the way down and still pass the same level of signal to the front of house guy. So you can literally send him your signal through the FR12 speaker or the FR10 speaker and get the exact amount of volume you want on stage versus what the front of house guy is controlling through the mains and then pumping back through maybe the floor wedge for your vocalist or bass player or drummer or something like that. So yeah, they crank really loud, more than enough for any venue, or at least for any stage volume. And then, you know, depending on the size of the PA and the size of the venue, they can crank you up as loud as they want through the house. But that's the job of the front of house engineer or mixing person, is he needs to balance everything. He's got to balance the drums, the bass, the vocals, the guitars, the keys, the horns, whatever your band consists of. That's his job to get the best mix he can. And that's why in decades past, you know, sound engineers have been, hey, turn your amp down. Because what's happening is they can't get the band up high enough over your amp to get a good balanced mix. It's just all guitar and no vocal. That's why you have to turn your amp down. But as we all know, that this is why HW from Tone Junkie, he says the Kemper is better than your tube amp, because the Kemper or any digital Mahler at this point, they have the ability to sculpt the sound exactly how you want, regardless of the sound level or regardless of the volume you have on stage, and it's consistent night after night after night. And you can EQ the output of your Mahler, so you can cut the lows, cut some highs, you know, do whatever you want with the mid-range, so you can send a finished guitar sound to the front of house guy, and he gets a consistent sound every night. He can control the exact volume of your rig compared to the rest of the band, and it's just that's a glorious experience right there, especially if you're wearing in-ear monitors or headphones or anything like that. So yeah, that's the way it is. Will my Pod Go work with the Aviator Cub? Yeah, of course. I'm pretty sure the Pod Go also has a way to bypass the cab on the output, or on one of the outputs there. So you would want to go into the effects return of the Aviator Cub And then you could even send a signal 1/4 inch out into a direct box and then send that out to your front of house guy. So everything goes through the aviator cub. It's like a little hub right there. If you want, you know. I borrowed it. You borrowed the aviator cub. I plugged my Podgo at home into my Mezza 5550, and it sounds great, but too heavy. Are you plugging into the input or the effects return? And the reason why you don't want to plug into the input when you're using a modeled amp and cab is because now you're doubling up on the preamp and the cabinet sound and meshing a digital amp and cab with a physical amp and cab or physical preamp and cab is not always the greatest sound to me. I prefer to bypass the preamp of the amp itself and use the effects return. So therefore, I'm only using the power amp and the speaker and not the preamp, power amp, and speaker. Because the digital modeler is acting as the preamp in that situation. And that's what I would do. But the aviator cab is like 20 pounds. It's super light. It's really, really light. It works great. I think about the quilter. Who is saying this? Yeah, David Kane and Thomas Moore. Okay, cool. Catching up on these comments here. I definitely have to say the ease of setting up a modeler straight to board is phenomenal, especially having all your tones ready to go. It is so nice, guys. It's just ridiculous how nice it is. Let me go to a. So for instance, here's a deluxe. Right, then here's a Mezza Boogie, which is the dual rec. Basically, it's a dual rec. So. Yep. Sounds good to me. So yeah, I got a clean deluxe going, and then switching it to a dual rec Mezza Boogie, and it's great. Here's the JCM 800 rig I made on Friday for my headrush guys. So if you're a headrush person and you want these rigs I made on Friday, which I do once a month, it's called my HTS rigs or headrush tone sculpting rigs live stream. So I pick a concept and I build that on the headrush, usually 5 to 6 different rigs. And then I upload those to my website, and then you pay a one-time price or one-time fee to access all the rigs I've ever made in these live streams from like 3 years back to the present and all the way probably 10 years into the future. So it's a very cheap price. I don't do Patreon at all. I don't do like, hey, join my channel community or whatever. I just like, here's some products. If you want to buy them and help support the channel, then great. If not, then just thank you for watching and, click the bell for future notifications and all the things you say on YouTube, right? But anyway, here's a deluxe. Turn off that delay. Yeah, get some drums and bass going there. That's a great sound. And then we have the JCM 800. All right, it's time to switch guitars. is this is the key thing about this rock lock system is you can just squeeze here, pull it off. You can keep the strap, you know, around your shoulder. And then let me switch cables here and then go back, snap, 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 and then I'm ready to go. Right? So, new guitar. Woo! This is my Les Paul inspired Black Beauty from Kiesel. It has a very cool metallic, like black metallic kind of finish on it. You can't really see all that great, but in certain lighting you can really see it pop, which is nice. Alright, go back. Here's my deluxe clean again. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. I'm a real dork. Richard Kaplan's in the house. What's up, man? Glad you're here. I think you have a Flex Prime, if I'm remembering correctly there. Would you take an FR12 over the Quilter Cub? I mean, for me, they both should work. They both do work. Now, here's my other theory in my professional opinion about these two things. So, what's cool about having an actual amp is this. Even without any modeler in sight, you could always just plug into the input of the amp and then just play the amp. And you got, you know, a way to amplify your guitar, right? With an FR speaker, you always have to have some kind of preamp to go into it. Otherwise, it's just going to sound very flat. Okay? Now, just for example, let me try this. Let me unplug that from the Headrush Flex Prime here. Come on, cable. All right, I'm going to plug into this FR12 over here with no preamp in it, and you're going to hear why it's not the greatest setup. All right. All right, maybe you can hear this. Yeah, it's just there's nothing there. There's no preamp sound to make the guitar sound exciting. So if you're stuck with a let me plug into the Toemaster Pro now, because I can. Let's go back here. Let's see where I'm at. Let's go to another song. Studio bass. I'll go to here. I'll go to this one. Alright, so this was a blonde deluxe model on the Toemaster Pro. But it still doesn't sound any better than the Headrush. It's just different workflows and different form factors and whatnot. Yeah, so FR versus an amp. So just as I demonstrated, if you plug straight into an FR speaker, you have no preamp sound. So does you no good, right? You have to have a preamp to plug into. With a real amp, you will need to bypass the cab on your Mahler, which some Mahlers do really easily, and some you have to kind of finagle with to get to do it. Otherwise, you just send your full rig through the FR or through the effects return of the amp and all that. But then you're stuck. You're kind of stuck with the sound of one speaker, and maybe you want to swap out different speaker types. Maybe just for experiment's sake. So there's strengths and weaknesses to both options. If you have a Mahler, you can definitely use an FR speaker. But if you want to use an amp, if you maybe use for instance, one of the amps I really loved over the years, I wish I still had, was the orange TH30. That was just a very cool looking head, and I had a 2x12 cab that was just pretty heavy that I would plug into. And even if you have a digital Mahler, you can just set up, like I said before, a one preset with only effects and not have any amp and cab options in there. And now you have a real amp with digital effects and kind of get the best of both worlds. So, yeah, if you got the money to only get one, then I would just get the real amp and make sure you have an effects loop on there so you can plug into the effects return, or you can even do a 4-cable method kind of thing with your Mahler and actually do some pretty cool things with that, which I have videos about that on my channel that I can I'll try to share below or something like that. But yeah, it's a hard decision because it's like, all right, do I want to spend $500 on an FR speaker, or do I want to spend $500 on an actual amp that I can do multiple other things with? And if you only have so much money, then you just got to pick one that works best for you, I think. Yeah, fixed return. Yeah, it doesn't sound good through the input. Yeah, it doesn't, because there's no preamp there. There's just no preamp. I borrowed the Cub to try it. Gotcha, the Cub. Aaron Short, what's up, man? I have no Fender amp. I have no Fender. Aaron, you need to try out these Rock Lock universal strap locks. These things are really cool. So you just pull it and then take it off and then snap it back on like that. And it's very easy to switch in and out different guitars and keep the same strap without having to do all the stuff. And there's no fear of this falling off like on a regular strap would. All right, let me plug in real fast to the Aviator Cub over here, because I can. Let's pull this out. Pull this out over here. All right, so I moved the amp like right here. You can kind of see it right here. This thing is not very heavy at all. All right, for fun, let's go back. Let me take this cable. Let me demonstrate some setups here. So right now I'm plugged straight into the input of the quilter. Okay. Now, here in a moment, when I get all this figured out, I'm going to plug back into my headrush and then go a 1/4 inch out into the effects return on the quilter. Okay? So I'm going to take this, plug in here, plug in here, and then take this cable. Okay. All right, now. Let me turn up the master on this headrush here. All right, fun experiment. Let's go back and forth. So that's the headrush going to the effects return. And now here's the guitar. Here's the guitar just going straight in. Okay, maybe a fuller sound, but I probably need to match the volume a little bit on the headrush. Okay, there's that. And then for one more thing, since this amp has a line level out, let me take this cable here and go out of the, let's use the yellow one. Okay, now you're going to hear okay, let me do this. Let me see. Let's go to mixer. Let's go here. Turn that up. Pan it in the middle. Okay, so now that's the direct out of the amplifier, which you don't get with the Princeton. You can't get that with the Princeton amp. But the quilters do have a line output that has a variable volume knob on it. So you can control how loud the amp is on stage versus the direct. So now let me turn down the amp. Okay, now you're only hearing the line out of the amp, which is really nice. It sounds really good. Okay. Now the signal volume is down, but the speaker volume's up. And obviously you're hearing it through this mic right here, but you know. Once again, we're going to turn the speaker volume down or off, and then turn the line level up. So now you got the best of both worlds, which you can't necessarily do with an FR speaker. Let me go back. This is now back into the headrush. Okay, so a headrush or a guitar to headrush, out of headrush into the effects return of the quilter cub. And then you're actually hearing the line level output going back into the audio interface, just like you would hear coming straight out of the headrush anyway. So, okay, that is with the cabs, the internal cabs on. So let me turn those off now. And now this is the just the amp with no cab, and the simulated cab coming out of the line output of the quilter. Okay, here's some drive sound. Okay. Signal volume down, speaker volume up. And then back to speaker volume. So, there you go. All kinds of options there that you can do with a single amp that actually has to have an effects loop on it. You can't do this with a regular Fender Princeton or anything that doesn't have an effects loop. Greg Barth is in the house. Everyone say hi to Greg. He has made the IR pack, the Doctor McFarland IR pack, which we came out with about 4 years ago. Is the best-selling IR pack on his website, I'm pretty sure, as far as the artist goes. And tons of people use my IRs in their digital modeler. So if you want to help support me and Greg at the same time, go to sonicdna.com or just follow the link in the description and buy his pack. He recently had a major life event that I'm sure he would, appreciate any support going his way. And if you want to help support two really awesome dudes, Greg first and then me, buy that IR pack, and you'll be very happy with your tones. I'm pretty sure of it. Dwight Bailey's in the house. What's up, man? Dwight with the glowing eyes. Even with strap locks equipped, I will never again attempt a guitar swing around the head. No, don't do that. I don't even do that myself. I'll probably just knock myself out, honestly. Probably would just knock myself out. Getting caught up here. Yeah, 10-4 Lloyd Phillips. Yep. How neat was that? What? How neat was what? What did I do? What did I do? Woof woof. Necro Dog, what up, man? I know I'm late, but at least I got to say hi. Yeah, you're fine. I might go for a little bit longer here. Yeah, Necro Dog, baby. So, I hope that answers the question of why I went digital and maybe why you want to choose a real physical amp with an effects return or effects loop over an FR speaker. To me, I mean, if you're switching speaker types all the time in the digital realm, then a FR speaker is kind of better, I guess, because you're getting the true character of those different speaker types. But if you like the sound of your speaker in your amp, and it sounds good with clean and overdrive and distortion tones, then it's just fine how it is. So let me turn that off. Let's see. This is the Black Shimmer, and this amp right here, I could actually go to a web browser real fast. You can kind of see what I'm dealing with. Maybe reconnect. All right, here we go. We're gonna do this kind of thing. Maybe if I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, let's do this. Arrange all windows. Okay. So what we're seeing here is I have the black shimmer pair with the JCM 100, but let's just say, for example, that I want to change this to the Black Lux Vibe, which has a different mid-range characteristic. The black shimmer is very scooped sounding with lots of high end. The Black Lux, not so much. It's still scooped, but not as scooped as the black shimmer. Let's see. Let me make sure the reverb is off on the amp. And right now it's a little bass heavy. Let me turn off these cabs once again. Both of them should be off. Yeah, they're off. Okay. Yeah, so you really get the best of both worlds there, choosing that. Then I go over to the other amp, which is the JCM 800. Right, maybe go here and what does it sound like? Maybe turn the treble up. Yeah, something like that. So anyway, Neil Sean of Journey, for instance, just for a good example here, he uses the Fractal FM9 live, like going direct to front of house, but he still has the EVH 5153 head and cabs behind him on stage. So he's using both. One, probably for like stage presence, like it's just cool having amps on stage if you're a big arena rock band, right? It'd be really weird if all you had was just drums and then maulers across the front of the stage, like no amps on stage anywhere at all. Like there would just be a weird live venue experience from an audience perspective. It's like, where's the amps? This is weird, you know. That's why you would often see like the really big, like 3 or 4 rows of Marshall stacks on stage. But if you were to look around behind them, they'd be totally hollow and the amps would be off and you just see like a Kemper like laying behind the full stack of amps and cabs. Because the Kemper actually was creating the sound, but the Marshall stack is giving you the illusion of like, hey, we're playing rock and roll, you know. Even though, same with Metallica and just, you know, other bands. You know, Metallica uses Fractal, I'm pretty sure, live. Some bands use Kemper. Other bands use Headrush. I mean, a lot of people nowadays are using the Toemaster Pros, the Helixes, just all kinds of different options nowadays. But, yeah, that's the way it is, man. That's the way it is. I'm checking my comments here. All right, guys, we had a good live stream today. If there's literally any more questions, I mean, I might stick around for a little bit just to answer those, but you guys got to be talking. There's like 14 people and no one else is talking. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer. Let's give you about 2 minutes. Okay, let's actually go till 5:30. This gives us 7 minutes. 6 or 7 minutes here to answer any last questions and tie the knot here a bit. So, okay, let's go back to here. Let's see what other rig I got. Here's a Bogner. Here's the Bogner rig, which is really nice. So, it has a detune sound on it, which is interesting. And And this is the Bogner Green and the Bogner Blue amps, which is nice. And once again, we got the cabs on, which I will now turn off. Yeah, it's a sound. Right now, you're demonstrating how amazing what we have at our fingertips now. As much as I love my tube amps, I definitely embrace the digital age. Oh yeah, for sure. Now, if I had I would love to have on this wall right here, I would love to have a Mesa Boogie dual rec. I'd like to have an orange Rocker Verb 100, or maybe just a 50. And then give me a Fender Bassman head. Like, give me 3 heads right here with like a 4x12 cab underneath, and maybe like a UA aux box or something. I mean, just for fun, you know, it would look really cool. Like dual rec, orange Rocker Verb, and a Fender Bassman, which I actually had one of my amps, one of the 35 amps I've owned over the years was a Silverface Bassman head, and that thing was pretty cool. It was really cool. I also owned a PV Classic 50 head that was very heavy. It was a beast, but the tones on that thing were really good. The cleans were great. The distortion, overdrive, whatever you want to call it, was really good. And but yeah, I've always been really jealous of, like, not jealous, but just I like Rhett Scholl's studio space now that he's repainted his room and kind of rearranged things. I like the amp shelf behind him with those 3 or 4 different heads he has, and it might be a cool goal eventually to have a neat like amp shelf over here somewhere, maybe, possibly. Just for fun, because you can, you know. But yeah, some kind of high gain thing, some kind of orange thing, and like a Fender-y kind of thing, and that'd be awesome. Pair it with a 2x12 cab with a Vintage 30 and a greenback, and you'll be set to go. I'm back to the swirly sound again. Here's a Sodano. Now, if I turn the EQ knobs on the amp, right, I just turned everything down on the amp, which means the preamp section is totally bypassed because I've plugged into the effects return of the amp and not the amp input. So now let me actually plug into the input of the amp and just show you why this is not a good idea. Okay, so first of all, let's start with this. Here's the clean sound. Okay, which is not bad. This is with the EQ at 12 o'clock, and the gain just like up a little bit. All right, maybe a little loud. Turn that down on the amp. You hear what I'm talking about? Like let me turn off this delay. The preamp from the Headrush is now meshing with the preamp on the Quilter, and it's just not a good sound overall. Now, when I go to the high gain sound, it's even worse. Okay. Switch it back to the effects return. Okay, now that's the more true sound of what you're getting out of the head rush, minus the cabs. Let me bypass the cabs here, because I just don't like the sound of that. You can kind of hear the tone changing as well. Listen to the static. That's off. Back on. Here's off again. Now you might think of like, all right, well, it needs more high end or it needs more something, but. And here's the speaker in the room. Yeah. It is what it is. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's right. There's the beauty any Mahler named the tone, and it's only a click away. That is so true. What aftermarket IRs do you recommend for the head rush? Mine. Use mine. Click the link in the description. It's called Sonic DNA Doctor McFarland IR Pack. That is a replication of my 2x12 cab with a SM57, a 421, MD421, and a Royer 121. And you're basically treating it like two mics are on two different faders, and you're controlling the sound by bringing the microphone volumes in and out or up and down in the signal path. And it's just really good. There's vintage 30s, there's greenbacks, and all those different combinations of the three different microphones as you go through like each section of the pack. So like I said, it's a great way to support me and Greg, and they are literally the only IRs that you'll ever need for any of your modeling devices. So that's what I suggest. That is what I suggest. I think you may have one or two stock ones on your website. Yeah, just go check out sonicdna.com. Joel Chappelle, what's up, man? I like that red guitar you got in the picture. Uh-oh. See, there you go. Joel says the Doc IRs are the bee's knees, and I would have to agree. I would have to agree. Now, when I do my head rush rigs, I just use stock cabs because I can't assume that everybody has my IRs. And therefore, if you try to load a rig that had one of my IRs that you don't have, then it's going to have a question mark over in that effects block that says, hey, I don't know where this file is. So that's just kind of rude and embarrassing. So. Yeah, I love these rock lock strap locks. These are really cool. Another really good accessory that I'll be done after this is this rolly kind of capo right here. So let me put this on like so. And what's great is it holds down the strings nice and tight. And then just roll it down. Roll it down. I'm just doing it with my thumb back here. You can kind of see I'm just rolling it back and forth. So if you got to change keys pretty fast in a song, back up. Versus having to like go over here and like unclamp, move it around. You just literally do it with your thumb. Folks, it has been a pleasure hanging out with you this afternoon on Tuesday, February 4th, 2025. And be sure to click the links in the description if you want to help support the channel in any way, either by buying something through my affiliate links, preferably Zounds on the top of the list, and then go down from there, Sweetwater, Amazon, or buying a product from my website, some kind of course, whether that's Headrush, Helix, Fractal, Toolmaster Pro, Kemper, music theory, recording. I have it all there. It's really college level, like music theory and recording techniques that, I learned back in MTSU a long time ago. And now I'm teaching you for a very low price here on the internet, which is what we do. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I am Doctor McFarland. I will see you in the next video. Keep rocking.